Revolution Rainbow. Studio A for Omnium Gatherum, a kaleidoscope of discussion, Thursdays at 4 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 p.m. only at Revolution Radio. To Revolution Radio, Studio A for Omnium Gatherum, a kaleidoscope of discussion, Thursdays at 4 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 p.m. only at Revolution Radio.
Welcome to Coffee Rants with Dan. I am the spiritual anarchist Dan Arnold, your host. Tune in for what's really happening every Thursday. That's Thursday at 9 a.m. in Studio A on Revolution Radio. They keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by healing the contradictions within your belief systems that allow you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we are meant to be, a service to others, to return to nature, and to reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies, so get angry, because anger is sacred, and together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Plato's Cave, coming to you from Australia, the land down under, for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. That's right, listener-supported radio, in fact, which means if you can donate, please do. Any kind of currency, including crypto, is good. Just go to the webpage, the homepage, revolution.radio. There's a bouncing ball you can follow. Real easy. If you like the content of our show or any show, please go ahead and donate. But maybe you can't donate. That's okay. Tell people about the station. In fact, if you see us out in the wild, and I know a lot of you have seen us out in the wild, which is great. Thank you so much. Like our shorts, come and see our full-length videos. Subscribe, comment, share, all those wonderful things. They help us. And subscribing is great. We get quite a few subscribers over the last few weeks. So thank you so much for subscribing. Now, you can listen to us on pretty much any platform, right? Including a Grace tabletop digital radio. That's right. Just sit in your lounge chair at home and enjoy the dulcet tones of your Grace tabletop digital radio. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast here in Australia. And for Dave, that's the
very tired Dark and Jung.
The Dark and Jung are tired. I'm going to say Dave is tired also. And the rock people, of course, for myself. And we would like to express our thanks and respect to the traditional custodians of the land, elders past, present, and future. Thank you very much. All righty. What do we have for you today? Oh, so many things. So many things. So first of all, there has been an interesting development in Japan. For the first time, a woman is the Japanese Prime Minister, the first ever female. That's a step in the right direction. That's probably the only positive story at the moment. We did see a ceasefire in Gaza. Yeah, we did. Very short-lived.
Oh, really, those were the days.
Those were the days. Those were the 12 hours of the ceasefire. We enjoyed the 12 hours. Of course, scores of people have been killed in the meantime by a renewed Israeli bombardment, which is not good. So you can ask yourself, and you got to be critical here as well. Is there a ceasefire still? Is there not? Well, the ceasefire means you don't shoot anymore, right, at each other. Just don't. But clearly that didn't happen, and in fact they were, and Israelis promptly started massive bombing runs on Gaza again, like I said, and killing scores of people. So is the ceasefire still in effect? I don't know. Apparently Vance, J.D. Vance, the vice president, is going to Israel to strengthen the ceasefire deal. Because the flare-up of violence is definitely, it's derailed. If there's violence, the ceasefire deal is derailed. Okay, the Israelis might not have gone back and forth, but that's a ceasefire is you stop firing. That's what.
You mean you don't kill 26 people in some building somewhere? Is that right? Is that what?
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, but you know what? What's good? No, it's not good actually. But in Ukraine,
people have different definitions of what ceasefire means.
That's clearly the case, and you and I are obviously just catching up. Like what? Which one is it, Dave?
I missed the meeting. That's what there was a memo.
I didn't get the
memo.
Don't remember it. Next time, just come on. Where's my memo? But in the Ukraine as well, Zelensky met with Donald Trump last week, and funnily enough, just before he met with Zelensky, Donald Trump had a call with Putin. Just before the meeting with Zelensky.
Could you do that?
Prior to that call, Donald Trump had bandied about the idea that they might give the Ukrainians Tomahawk missiles. Pretty powerful stuff, apparently, as far as missiles are concerned, with an extremely long reach as well, easily reaching Moscow and other parts of Russia from the Ukraine. But after that phone call and in the subsequent meeting with Zelensky, Donald Trump decided not to give Zelensky those Tomahawk missiles. In fact, I'm not seeing any peace settlements in the Ukraine and Russia at all. And again, bear in mind, Netanyahu is getting what Netanyahu wants. Putin is getting what Putin wants. Right? And Donald Trump is doing what? He started demolishing part of the east wing of the White House to make the Trump, is it $200 million ballroom? $200 million ballroom. And in the meantime, tens of millions of Americans are losing their health care potentially. And, Dave, the U.S. government is still shut down, and the Epstein files have not been released, and they haven't sworn in the Democratic candidate, which had won the election, like the special by-election, we would call it, I guess, because she would be the 218th vote that would force the vote on the Epstein files. And there's more. There's always more. It doesn't end. Can't someone make it stop? No, but seriously, it's ridiculous. Now, and Virginia Giuffre's book came out today.
That's
in
right.
Australia, in which she names names and says, fairly graphically describes what happened to her. I still don't think she committed suicide, by the way. So
did you know that it was cleansed? The book was cleansed before being published.
I did not know that. Who cleansed it?
There was a news story about it. Let me just pull that up for you.
Please do. Because that is, of course, complete BS. That's just not right. I mean, seriously. What's next? Hi, but I can tell you one thing. Prince Andrew, who apparently, see, the thing is, this is interesting. He's no longer the Duke of York. He can't call himself that. But apparently the title Prince is a birthright which can't be taken away. Do you know that? Fascinating, right? The title Prince you can never lose. Anyway, so he's been further ostracized by his family because apparently, even though he's been swearing up and down he never heard of Virginia in his life, he had his bodyguards, his English police bodyguards, try to investigate her. This was years ago when he said he didn't know her. Now, how a British police officer would investigate a woman in America is a mystery to me, but clearly that's what he tried to do, which of course doesn't really bode well for him. So I'm getting a feeling here, Dave. This is my feeling. Jeffrey Epstein, obvious fall guy, is dead, right? He's dead. Virginia Giuffre, the main agitator, dead. Right? Dead. Also dead. Ghislaine Maxwell, the other accomplice, only has good things to say about Donald Trump and nothing bad about anyone else. She's completely unaware of any wrongdoings that anyone ever did anywhere in the world. And hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. She should have these 3 monkeys tattooed on her forehead. That's what she should do. And now the living fall guy. Now the public ire, the anger, the righteous, burning anger is directed at the only obvious target, which is Prince Andrew, right? Because he's extensively mentioned. He's still a friend. All that stuff. So he in my mind is becoming now a fall person for this whole fiasco. Lest the Epstein files, the Berenstein, lest the Epstein files are in fact released. Having said that, though, again, I know I'm beating it at horse, but the real files, the real evidence, the real dirt on Donald Trump is not with the CIA or the FBI or anyone else in America, but it's sitting with Netanyahu and Putin. And I don't know who's got what. Maybe they all have the same. Maybe they don't. But I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Epstein worked for both Putin and Netanyahu, or the Israelis and Russia. Both of them. 100%. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. And you know what the funny thing is, Dave? More and more people coming up and saying it. Like, I've been trolling the internet a lot. I mean, not just YouTube, but all kinds of news sources. And there are 2 things that are coming up more and more. One, Epstein was definitely working for Israel and Russia. Both of them, in fact, like I've been saying for months. And that Charlie Kirk was killed not by the person that they say he was killed by, but rather for his negative remarks about Trump and especially Israel, where. And a lot of people are now also coming out and saying that the October 7th attacks in Israel are looking really fishy. And you know what the funny thing is? This is the giveaway.
Looking fishy.
Fishy. This is also harking back to 9/11. Netanyahu is refusing to investigate what happened. If I was, let's say I'm the Prime Minister of Israel, and
you're the Prime Minister of Israel?
Right now, that's what I am. And 1,200 of my citizens were killed by a border incursion. A further 200 odd were taken, hostage, if you will. So let's call it 1,500, right? Of my Israeli citizens, the biggest killing of Jews since the Holocaust, the single biggest killing, like in a mass event. And it did happen, but it happened under my watch. I'm the Prime Minister, right? Now, the very first thing I would say is, hey, what went wrong? What happened that this happened?
You would do a root cause analysis of how did we get invaded, blah blah blah.
You have to.
And like I said, I've seen the GoPro footage of the people doing the perpetrators. Years. And there was no one there. There was no one at the border. The borders were empty, and that's why there's no audit, Mekhi. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Completely unheard of, though. Completely unheard of. I mean,
it's the most secure state on the planet. Well, it used to be.
Well, yeah.
yeah, I was trying to say, I did bring that story up. I know we've moved through a number of them since. This is now on screen for those watching from home, and no doubt this will make a short. But here's a story from kirkusreviews.com, and it does book reviews, and it offers the Kirkus Prize, and there's a magazine and writers center. It isn't a little, left or right radical news outlet. It is not. And this is from September 4th of this year, and the story is by Michael Schwab. Who knows if there's any connection? But it says, publisher will make changes to Guthrie memoir. And it goes on to say, Knopf has agreed to make changes to the forthcoming memoir by Virginia Roberts, the Jeffrey Epstein accuser who died by suicide in April, the Associated Press reports. In August, the press announced that it would be publishing Nobody's Girl. That's her one. And
that's right.
In the fall, in the memoir, written in collaboration with Amy Wallace, Guthrie tells the story of being trafficked by Epstein and his friend Ghislaine Maxwell, both of whom were convicted of sex trafficking. Epstein died in 2019. His death was ruled a suicide. It's funny how they use the terms ruled a suicide. It makes, what did Bill Gates say? Well, he's dead. So
it's almost
this is extremely disturbing. The link to this article will be below in the video. If you're watching this on a short, do go to the full length so we can have a greater discussion about it. If you find any of our videos on shorts, do go to our long form.
Please, yeah, that's a good idea. Now, Dave, that's disturbing, obviously, sanitizing the book, and I think...
Well, she can't do anything about it now, and if they paid her an advance to write it, because it was something important, they could have written themselves in as the owner of that memoir, and then they can change whatever they want. But then I'm going to ask the biggest question here. Who ordered the rewriting of it, and who is being removed from it? That's the real story right there, and there's no backup. There's no follow-up questions. The story is almost, it's only 4 paragraphs, Mackie. That's it. Tells you nothing.
The problem, and you know this problem, our listeners might not be as aware as we are. The corporate media is owned by 5 corporations, right? Mm-hmm. Thereabout. Globally, almost, but certainly in the English-speaking world. And if they decide something isn't published, guess what? It's not published. And
that's right.
This is the thing. So if you look at Jeffrey Epstein's friends, and let's call them client list and whatever, I mean his associates, and people he used to hang out with, right? I mean presidents and billionaires and tech moguls. The names are all familiar to you. You know them all. Like there's Gates and Clinton and others, right? Prince Andrew, etc., etc. I mean, they're all there. Donald Trump is there. Everybody's hanging out with the guy. That guy was such a social fixture in globally, in fact, not just in America, but his reach was global, right? Let's be very clear here, especially into Israel. Just to Israel and Russia, as it turns out. But all of these people, they have no interest at all in being named in any kind of text ever. And whatever they again, if you haven't seen the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Jimmy Stewart, and I think it was Francis Ford Coppola that directed it, if I remember correctly. He also did The Wonderful Life. That was a very brave movie. You will not see a movie being made like that today, because what it showed This is a 1940s movie, might even late 1930s. I can't remember. Okay, so we're talking like an 80-year-old movie, and it shows the corruption that is festering within the American body politic. But it's not just America. Any political, assembly, any kind of government, any kind of institutional power group is like that. But it is a beautiful case study of America in the 30s and 40s, where this one mogul, this one, owner of the newspapers, a rich guy, says, "Oh no, don't let that guy speak. Don't let that guy. Don't print his story." It was about a corruption that was happening in his state, and Mr. Smith, Jimmy Stewart, was very upset about it, and he went to Washington, and in fact became a congressman on the back of it. And then the movie sort of ends with a filibuster. He's talking and talking and talking about the corruption, and of course in the movie it resolves in a positive way. Not like probably doesn't do that in the same way in real life, but it certainly did so in the movie. But it showed the power structures and how things work. It's like just people calling each other. Hey, it's just make sure this doesn't happen, make sure that doesn't happen, make sure he doesn't get published here. Don't print his story. Kill it. Kill the story. In fact, these days, that doesn't even have to happen anymore, Dave. We've talked about self-censorship, ad nauseum. Reporters know what they can and can't talk about. And I give you the best example for self-censorship that I've seen in these many years. Mr. Patel and Mr. Bongiorno were firebrands on YouTube. Right? Do you remember that?
That's true. Yeah,
like,
totally.
Release the files, and Democrats are demon lovers, and whatever, right? All this stuff.
Stood on those platforms.
Exactly, 100%. And you would have, what would you do? I would release it all, there'd be transparency and blah blah blah, right? When they got into office, within a few days, their stance was changed. 180 about turn. They were facing the forest, and now they're facing the wall. And you can see it in their faces. You can see that something happened in their world that completely shattered it. They looked to me, especially Bongiorno, terrified. When they said, there's nothing to see here, there's no files, there's no video. Remember, no video, no files, nothing, right? And later we learn, of course, there are files, there is video, there's a whole bunch of stuff, right?
It's the way they described that there was nothing. He goes, the files on my... And what about, the files on my desk? That was Bondi. Yeah. The files on my desk, I'm going to go through it. There's a lot of stuff. We put a lot of agents on to go through all the videos. And then Patel's like, I've seen the file, there's nothing in it. Yeah. So you could just put a manila folder on his desk with Epstein written on it. And that's the Epstein file folder. Oh, yeah, it's on my desk. You open it. There's nothing in it. You can't shake an envelope or money out of it. There you go. Yeah. But it reminds me, Mackie, of the song by Dua Lipa, the "Don't Start Now" song. This is their first 3 months in office. Patel, Bondi, and who's the other one?
Bongiorno.
Bongiorno. So the verse 1 of that Dua Lipa song is, did a full 180, crazy, thinking about the way I was. It's the opening 2 lines, right? I'm so worried for what effort it was to turn them around. If it was a dump truck full of money, I'm only human, right?
No, I don't think it was
the clown. Yeah. Crust to the clown gag. Yeah. That is. I don't know, Mackie, because and then if it were me, if it was you and I, and the whole system stonewalled us, I'd actually bring to light that we were stonewalled. In that role.
There's some.
What do you do?
There's some knowledge I have about how these things work. Not money. I mean, money might be part of it as you know, the sort of the sugar that makes the medicine go down, right? But
it's a good song about
the
that.
way, yeah, I know, right? The way they appeared, their faces, their mannerisms, their speech, their
hostage
eyes.
videos.
You have to look at,
yes.
Yeah. Look at their eyes. So this was not someone that's been bribed. It'd be a very different thing. This was someone that was promised, not threatened with, but promised the worst possible outcome for them and their families.
That's right.
They might, look, I don't want to be too graphic here, but suffice it to say, right, that everybody has a weak point, right? Even if you don't care about yourself and you don't fear death, and that's all wonderful, that's great.
But your
right?
family, your children, that's right.
Anything like that, exactly. And I'm sure that in no uncertain terms were they made aware of the fact what would happen should they stray from the path.
Yeah.
Now,
totally.
This is now okay. Well, why has this happened before?
But it did. Did it remind you of the Armstrong and Buzz and what's his name that stayed in the conference?
You broke up there, brother.
Oh, so you know after the moon landing when they did the press conference?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and it
exactly.
totally looked like a hostage video.
Yeah, it's like these guys have just done the greatest thing in the history of humanity, like literally. I mean, there's no comparison at all to this, right? I mean, okay, first man in space, Gagarin, but I mean that's great. But these guys actually went to another planetary body. What? And they looked like they just you know had like, you know, 2, 3, 4 days of diarrhea. That's I mean, they were in discomfort and sweating and nervous and not at all. You understand if you're shy, sure enough. If you're shy, but sure. You radiate a certain level of achievement or happiness. There was none of that. You're right.
There wasn't. So each of them were playing the pencil or a canvas. And
right.
If you just watch this video, it's on its own. Just watch that, and then watch the Patel on Rogan trying to explain why there's nothing to see.
Yeah.
And his 180. It's so shocking that you can't believe him.
No.
At all. He never steps you through how he made that 180 turn. Yeah. It's just now shut down. Here's the new story.
That's it. And people always say, this is an important point to understand. People always say, oh, you can't keep these secrets. That's, you know, no. People will always talk, da-da-da. So let's be clear here. So number one, people have always been talking about, you know, be it the moon landing or be it the JFK assassination or be it, you know, Kash Patel and Bongino or whatever their names are, right? People are talking about, we are talking about this, but we don't know anything. But we're suspicious. Now, the people that do know, okay, and this is something you need to understand. If you break rank, they will extinguish your entire bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
The power that these people have when it comes to meting out violence is absolute. It's absolute power. Think about this for a second. There have been engineers, inventors coming up with free energy, even Tesla, whatever. We have none of these things because either those people were killed and had their research stolen or destroyed, either, right? Or they disappeared. Or maybe some, if they're lucky enough, they were bought off.
Or both.
Them. Or both. But the point is this. These people, I mean, okay, simple example. And a Saudi Arabian journalist goes into the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. I think it's in Istanbul. Or not the embassy, the mission. Because the embassy is only in the capital city. Anyway, so he goes in there. Then he's killed and dismembered. What are the consequences?
Sorry.
Hello, we all know who ordered his everybody knows it. Nothing is happening. JFK was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated as well for different reasons, of course. But and everybody knows who did it. It's not a mystery. There's been obfuscation and people that come up with these, the things that Dave and I say, oh, you're crazy conspiracy theorists, because it's more comfortable for most people to assume it was some kind of crazy madman rather than an organized machine. Right. Because that's terrifying. It's terrifying to think that there's this machine out there that has the ability to get rid of anyone it doesn't like without any consequences. None. No consequences. That's the kicker here, right? The establishment, the parasites, or at least the parasites that we can see, act with complete impunity. The Princess Diana, do you think there was an accident in the tunnel? Now, the story goes that she was pregnant with her then boyfriend's child, who happens to be an Arab. His father owned Harrods at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And they all got killed. She was killed on purpose, Princess Diana. On purpose, she was killed. Can you imagine if the royal house of England was related to Saudi Arabian billionaires? That's no good. That doesn't help anyone. Mickey. No, that's right. Of course not. That would have been insane. So she was killed. She was killed. Right? And her two children, right? Yes, her first son is definitely Prince Charles's son. We can go with that.
And the second one definitely looks like the driver.
Looks like her, driver and bodyguard. 100%.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
That's why he's a spare. He was always, even his book is called The Spare. He was not really in the bloodline anyway. Do you know what I mean? So that's why
right.
They didn't care if he left with and the girl that he married, she was African American. Of course, that is owned him. These people are racists. Be clear, they are racists. I mean, that's just a side effect.
So, Mackie, you raised a good point, and I've got a perfect example of people keeping a secret en masse, huge secret. The NSA. Did you know that the NSA recently had its 60th anniversary? And secretly. When did we... what?
They had it secretly.
Yeah, they did. But for us, it was only 25 years old. Or 24 years old. Because in 2001, the NSA became well known. But before then, it was established in 1952. And I've got their own government website page about the establishment of it. 1953, blah, 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 keeps going through until you hit around about 2004 or around 1999 onwards. Because of 9/11 and all of the things that were occurring at that point. And they... Even in 1968, Becky, there's an entry on their own page that it says, President Johnson and Secretary of State McNamara discuss upcoming statement at Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearings about Gulf of Tonkin attacks. Do you know how deeply embedded you must be to be talking about the Gulf of Tonkin attacks in an agency that didn't exist? Tens of thousands of people that work there, Mickey. Tens of thousands. And not a single person spilled the beans about the agency's existence.
That's a really good point. And think about Groom Lake as well.
Yeah. How many people have flown in there day in and day out and in the buses and no one talks about it?
Pine Gap. No one talks about Pine Gap.
An American base. It's American soil. American soil on Australian soil.
Yeah, which is
lethal force
not unheard of, but
it's
just unusual. It's just, but having said that, most of the people can be threatened enough with lawsuits and things like that. They can be threatened enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, and people say, someone would have come out and said something. We have had people come out.
That's
Lazar.
True.
Okay?
Yes.
And there were other people, photo processors for NASA, And other whistleblowers that have come out, some of the whistleblowers obviously were planted by the establishment,
Yes.
Other whistleblowers were real, and you can always tell if they were real if they got killed eventually, right? And quite a few were killed, the whistleblowers, that is. And you look at what happens to whistleblowers. I mean, not that Assange was a whistleblower, but he published whistleblower material, right? Destroyed his life completely.
That's right.
The consequences are real, right? And trust me, when you get into positions of power, and the thing is this, both Bongino and Patel, as well as Bondi, or Bondi, whatever she wants to call herself, they were completely unprepared for the positions. Even Hegseth, right? No idea. They were completely unprepared for the positions they went into. Like, they had no idea. But imagine being confronted all of a sudden with the reality of life. I don't know if you've ever had a weapon in your face. I have. Right?
I have.
And that's
I
a
walked
game changer.
into a robbery.
Yeah. Then how did it change you? I mean, for me, it happened a number of times, but for me, the first time was a life-changing experience. Completely. Like, this is real now. This is all of a sudden, I mean, you live your life and you lollipop and rainbows, and all of a sudden, your mortality becomes a reality. And you go, I mean, Dave, tell me about your thing.
Well, I walked into a service station and it was being held up. And I did recover all the money that was stolen, which was good. I can't tell you too much more about it, except I can describe their weapon. I can't describe them very well, except for dark skin and wearing masks. But I can describe the weapon very well, and that's actually a known psychological thing where you're focusing only on the threat itself, and that's what you've recorded. If the threat was a human, it's without the weapon, you'd be able to describe the person very well.
Right.
But since it's the weapon, and that's the thing that's the most threatening to you, your brain focuses on it. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, but that's exactly right, Dave. You develop tunnel vision, and it's also like like an eidetic tunnel memory, if you will, right? That'll never. It won't go away.
It could be one of those things you pass on with your DNA. Who knows?
Look, I mean,
one of those things.
It's funny that you should say that. My mother, as a child, was fleeing the Russians during the war, and she had to go across this bombed out bridge, and there was only some metal pilings that they had to crawl.
Oh wow! Yep.
So like it was for her. It was like she after that she could never deal with heights, right?
Yeah,
it was like she was terrified. And she was
totally makes sense.
4 or 5 years old, whatever. But I, who had no such experience at all, can't handle heights either.
Yeah,
no good with it. No good with it at all. And there's no reason why I shouldn't be. Right now, my daughters have no issues at all because I guess my wife loves heights, and I also don't like these rides that you go on the amusement park and such. But you're right. I think there's definitely something for this genetic memory, right?
Wait. So can't go on rides. I went on a swing the other day, and the G-forces, because it wasn't a long swing, it was only a very short moment. That's science. Because I science. That's a joke to another YouTuber. Because the moment arm was so short, the G's change was so extraordinary and it was unusual for my inner ear. I had to get off the swing.
Wow. Okay.
It's only something that you can get used to again. I'm not saying you can't, because I drive and there's G-forces, but something that was immediately changing. Just was a very odd kind of almost brand new experience. Yeah. When the babies, you've seen the videos of the babies getting hearing aids and can hear their parents for the first time, kind of like that emotional shock it was.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's good to experience things, Becky. If you don't stop and smell the roses from time to time, you'll miss out.
No, that's exactly right, though. That's you should. And, I force myself to do certain things that I find uncomfortable. You always have to go out of your comfort zone. I completely agree.
Oh, and every single day try and do something different.
Well, if you can, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Just something different.
You should break a law and try to do 3 impossible things before breakfast. I'm breaking the law every day. Every day I'm breaking the law. Every day. No, I do. Every single day. Now, it's a law of my choosing, but, nonetheless.
Oh, that's okay then.
Not too bad a law. Nothing that
right.
Land me in the electric chair. But
hey, not before the 10th of December, Mackie. After then, I wouldn't do it anymore.
That's right.
Do you know 15,000 people, Mackie? 15,000 people in England have now been arrested for social media posts.
15,000.
15. Yes.
And what is the charge?
May in the future offend someone.
That's not even a charge. That's not even a thing.
Wait,
Dave.
It is a thing. So that's the lightest of the charges. The other ones may cause civil unrest. So just going against the calm nature of the current government, and their going against the narrative, could cause someone to shift out. Imagine if it's a spotlight down onto the ground and everyone's huddled in the middle, and if that spotlight, you're now can be charged with that, because that spotlight is the government narrative.
That's insane.
And that is the 10th of December. You wait for it.
No, I hear what you're saying. It's pre-crime.
Yeah.
This is not what did I do wrong? Nothing yet.
That's right.
But you will. You will if it's going to offend someone. No, but look, if you look at the whole landscape,
too much power. Right? The world has gone mad. All the governments are hungry for more and more power, Mackie, and it's just disturbing.
But why? I'll tell you why. This is interesting, because thank you. You just reminded me of something. So over the weekend, there were 2,500 No Kings protests in America. At the same time, in Australia, we had several protests around mass migration. We don't want mass immigration, etc. So it's complete opposite in many ways. But none of these protests were violent in the least. In fact, there were 7 million people or so engaged in the protests in America, and that's not enough, by the way. You need to get at least 10 to 15% of the population.
Wow.
Which in America that would mean about, at least 10 to 20 million. At least, actually, 15 to 20 million you would have to get to before you get to critical mass change.
Yeah.
So 7 million is not enough. But no violence, completely peaceful, etc., etc. Even though the Republicans were saying, or not the Republicans, but the MAGA guys were saying, there's going to be all these Hamas people and the Antifa people and the communists.
And there were no show.
Well, no, but the thing is, first of all, maybe I don't know who paid for it, but the point is, who is Antifa? So Antifa is anti-fascists, right? Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm an anti-fascist. I don't like fascists. I don't. I'm not a fan of fascists, right? But having said that, there is no Antifa organization in the United States. It doesn't exist, which is hilarious, I think. But that's beside the point. So, but
Mackie, turn in a friend, because there's great prizes to be won.
That's right. They're doing that now. Having said that, though, my point is that this is people power. Okay, and we're seeing more and more protests around the world for different things. I mean, Black Lives Matter was a big movement, obviously, back a little while ago. But other things now as well. We see this uprising of people saying, "Hey, no. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I want. This is going against the grain." And the governments are seeing this. Now, in Australia, we've already taken massive steps toward making it very hard for independents to run. The two parties, or I guess this Labour, Liberal, National, came together and said, you know what? You have to have certain thresholds, and you have to have this and that, and they can't take extra money.
No. What was the first sentence that they said? Our greatest threat are independents.
Our greatest threat. That's right. Our greatest threat. Because it would destroy the system. To be clear, two-party system doesn't work. It is, in fact, not only does it not work, it is no longer representative of the people.
That's right.
So we should have more independent candidates because at that point, government
that
101.
is the natural evolution of the cross-section of the people.
Yes, but
it's new representation.
Correct. If you're elected to represent your whatever it is that you're representing, your council, your electorate, whatever it is. No, but really, if you're that person, right, then your job is to represent them. Now, if you're an independent person, non-party political, right, then you have a better chance of representing your people than if you are bound by party politics. Let me give an example. Let's say you're a liberal in Australia. A liberal is what you would call in America, like a Republican. Okay, that's probably the closest. Not exactly, but close enough.
No,
and they want to, we're gonna, introduce all the rich suburbs because liberals are usually in the rich suburbs, right? That's like a traditional thing. Now, if you got elected a liberal in a working class suburb and you don't get high speed rail, you have no choice but to vote along with it.
That's right.
Because that's your party, right? But if you're an independent, guess what? You can actually do whatever you want. And we have had people cross the aisle, so to speak. We had people vote against their party, and they were promptly removed from the party.
That's right. That's not representative government.
No, it's not. It is government by bullying, right? And that's not what we sign up for. So it doesn't work anymore, is my point, right? Having said all of that, though, they're seeing the power of the people growing by having more and more independent candidates.
That's right.
And by people going out to protest. It doesn't matter what you're protesting. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter what it is that you don't like. Anytime you do that, you're making your voice heard and you're disturbing the politicians. You're disturbing the trough, the feeding trough, as it were, right? Because you might be trying to change the status quo, God forbid. And that is what they're fighting tooth and nail in many countries across the world. Yeah, to protect, 100%. Look, this is the biggest problem of our time in that space, party politics, and how it's manifesting itself in our sphere of experience. We no longer have politicians out there in the world that truly represent what the people want. Not really. Can I give you an example? So Donald Trump said America first, right? America first for everything. Am I right? That's what he said. That was MAGA, America first, make America great again. Okay. There has been virtually nothing that he has done that has made America great. In fact, there's an interesting fact I learned today. So everybody was up in arms about the children starving in Gaza, 1 million children starving in Gaza, right? That's awful. It's horrible. It's horrific. I mean, there are many, many other countries where children are starving, but in Gaza there was a spotlight, and you understand. Okay, I get it. Do you know how many people are food insecure, or let's call go hungry every day in America? Any guesses? 14 million. 14 million. 1-4.
Yep.
14 million people. Sorry, children. 14 million children in America are food insecure. 14 million. In Australia, we have, I think the number is closer to 1 million or 1.5 million. And that's children living in the street as well. I mean, what? This should not happen. This is complete insanity, Dave, right? We're focused, but why does it happen? I'll tell you why. Let's say I'm the king of Australia, right? And I got a lot of problems.
Hello, Mr. King.
You get Tasmania. And there are a lot of problems in Australia, right? There are a lot of problems here, and I can't really solve them. Maybe I don't want to solve them. Maybe it's too hard. Maybe I haven't got the money. It doesn't matter, but I can't solve them, right? So what do? I distract my population with other problems that are happening very far away, over there. Look how bad it is over there.
War, Mickey. Look at that. Yeah, that's right.
war is the ultimate expression of that distraction.
Yeah.
100%.
That's right. Yep.
Look over there. No, don't look here. Look over there. And that's exactly what's happening as well. You look at any country that has significant internal problems, like America, for example, right now, even Australia, we look somewhere else, right? The misdirection.
Yeah, don't look at misdirection. That's right. It's like Penn and Teller, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It is. Totally. You don't look at the people who are living rough under the underpasses or under the overpasses, or in shop doorways when it's and don't look at the NGOs, Becky, that are using car parks, unattended car parks, to house the homeless. Don't attend to the problem that caused what's the root cause of anything, right? Don't look at that. Just go, oh, look over there. What's that? That is the real problem. We should, climate, greenhouse gases, bushfires. There's bushfires today, right now in Tasmania, out of control. It's nuts. So with all the things that are going on, you've got to go, EVs and renewable energy and it's going to be cheaper. It never is cheaper. The more resources that are consumed to create used to create the green energy movement is far greater than what we currently have. And the big argument about net zero, I'm getting kind of beside myself here with all the fear and panic and uncertainty that is happening now in the world because of all these other things. I don't see the homelessness on the street. I don't smell the urine. I don't see the guy living rough anymore. I walk past them. We don't even have money to give to them anymore. It's all tapped. I just use my phone to pay for anything. They don't have a 4 square on their person, or a QR code that you can, I want to give you some money, right? They should start a homelessness podcast. Did you know Netflix has now decided that they're going to be running through a partnership with Spotify the videos of podcasts on the Netflix platform. Okay. It was announced yesterday. It's fantastic. We can be there. We can totally be there now because we have Spotify, by the way, just letting everyone know.
Well, let's do it. Yeah.
So you're right, Mickey, and George Orwell wrote this in 1948 about the perpetual war as the distraction. If you've all got a common enemy, then you're stronger together against the enemy, and you're polarizing everyone for that. And they're now using so many of these examples that we're actually a mesh rather than all polarized towards a single thing. We're all polarized towards everyone's got something else. And now it's the anti-immigration. We're ignoring the fact that all of our governments are turning into autocratic governments. Yes. They're oppressing us with rules, and they're using these distractions to stop us investigating further or knowing more.
Oh, completely.
And it's all to our own detriment. When are we protesting against those things?
We're not.
No.
But you see, they make it so that so the first tactic is, of course, to shame yourself, to shame you out of protesting, to shame you, to label you. Like people are being labeled as radicals or crazies or communists or whatever. It doesn't matter what your label is, right?
Or there's violence. There's violence in those protests. I don't want to go to a violent protest.
Exactly, 100%. Now, the violence is rare. It's a rare thing. There's violence because human nature, funnily enough, right? We're not inherently violent, right? The vast majority of us would be quite happy to be left alone and just potter and do our own thing. There are, of course, people that are wired differently. That's fair. But even in a war scenario, you know what they found out is that people shoot to miss. Do you know why there's 5 people in the firing squad?
So at least one of them is going to hit someone.
No.
Why?
So
It's to anonymize who did it.
Correct. So first of all, not everybody gets a bullet. Okay? First of all.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So in the firing squad, not everybody gets a bullet. That's number one. Number two, it is anonymized. You don't know who hit, who knows? We don't know, right? Because to kill, and again, unless you have done this, you don't know it, and I hope you never find out. But unless you kill, you don't understand the psychological burden that you put on yourself, unless there's something wrong with you, right? Like I said, there are three types of people that go to war, right? And then they come back. One that comes back damaged and can't be repaired. Yes. One that comes back damaged but can still function in society. And then the third type, which is very small, that goes to war and goes, well, where have you been all my life? It's awesome. I love it here.
And actually, when they come back, they go again.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. So, and that's how we are wired as people. So we don't. I don't think. Again, as a normal human being, I don't think anybody likes to kill. I don't think anybody that is like a normal human being likes to kill. There's always the outliers. Like I said, there's this third group that thinks, oh, this is freaking awesome. More.
What's that from The Simpsons? When do we get the guns? Not until you tell me your first name.
Oh, yeah, there's similar scene in Armed and Dangerous with John Candy. That was hilarious. You're now armed, and armed security guards. God help us all. But or even remember Tackleberry in the Police Academy. That's probably giving away my age now. It's like, where the guns at? Let us have the guns. I brought my own guns. Tackleberry.
That's right. He's got this massive firearm. Yeah.
But look, all jokes aside, this is serious stuff, right? So, what we discussed here is okay. The system isn't working anymore. We also, I think, are realizing that secrets are easily kept. Intimidation works. Self-censorship is a real thing. Right? Is that the music?
It is.
Oh, jeez. Hey, this really went fast. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Plato's Cave. Don't go anywhere. Something awesome is going to come up. If you see us out in the wild, please like, subscribe, comment, share, etc., etc. Come to the station, come for the full hour. Plato's Cave for 2 hours, so try this out. But in the meantime, Dave,
come for the free food and be safe.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.
Join Revolution Radio every Sunday at 5 p.m. Studio B for Strange Universe. Strange Universe.
Through everything, we have to remember that we have more in common than not in common. And to find this common ground, tune in to Conversations with Eagle Flower, Wednesdays, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio A. Because we come to this table of life to learn in the best possible way and experience this gift of life from our mutual Creator. So let's learn together and build our best future with Conversations with Eagle Flower, Wednesdays, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, on Revolution Radio.
Are you interested in the paranormal? Murder mystery? Real natural law? Do you enjoy interviews with amazing guests? Then join Crip Rick every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern.